Good day, everyone. Today we shall be studying quadratic equation part 1a. By the way, this is Gifted Brain aka Saizu, first in Africa, sixth in the world. So a quadratic equation is an equation whose maximum power of its variable is 2. So anytime you see an equation and you look at the variable in that equation and the maximum power of that variable is 2, then that is a quadratic equation. Now, the general form of a quadratic equation is written as ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. You see, where a is the coefficient of x squared, the b is the coefficient of x, and while c is a constant of the equation. I will be explaining some of these things so that you have a clear understanding of what we are trying to say. Now, for instance, if we have an equation like this, 2x squared plus 3x, we are here now, plus 5 equal to 0. Obviously, what is the coefficient of x squared here? The coefficient of x squared is the 2 we are seeing here. That's why your a is 2, because a is the coefficient of x squared. Now, what is our b? Our b is the coefficient of x. And this is where my x is. And so, 3 is that value, which is the b. And the c is the constant. That term that does not have x in it at all, that's the constant. So you can see, that's the 5. So c is 5. Again, look at this other question. 3x squared plus x minus 3 equal to 0. What's my a, b, and c? Our a is 3 here, because that's the coefficient of x squared. Our b is 1. That's the number beside the x. In mathematics, a variable written without any number beside it means it has its coefficient to be 1. And then our c is minus 3. Please, our c is not 3 but minus 3. So take note of that. There are 4 common ways of solving quadratic equation. The first is factorization method, 2 complete the square method, 3 formula method, and then graphical method. We will not be taking this graphical method now, but we will be considering the remaining 3. So let's take the first method by factorization. Okay, first of all, I want to let you know that there are 3 different steps in solving by factorization method. The first step is to obtain the product of a and c. That is, you multiply the coefficient of x squared, which is your a, and multiply the constant. So a and c. That will give you the first step. The second step is write out the possible factors of the product obtained in the step 1. That AC you've gotten, that's what you've got by multiplying a and c. Find its factors. And step 3 is to look at that one of these factors. If you clearly write out all the possible factors, one of these factors, when added, will give you the coefficient of x, that is the b. It will give you the b. So that's that. And use that factor to separate the middle term and then get your factorization done. So, and take note that this will only work. This method is used for quadratic trinomial that has 3 terms. Well, each time I take a question to solve, I will tell you if it's a quadratic trinomial or not. So let's look at our example 1 now. Solve the following quadratic equation by factorization method. Let's take the first one now, which is x squared plus 5s plus 6. The first thing to do, this is a quadratic trinomial first of all, because it has 3 terms. The x squared term, 5x, and then the constant 6. So the first thing to do is to note your a, b, and c. My a here is 1. And then my b here is 5. And then my c here is 6. Now after this, first step, remember, multiply your a and c. Multiply 1 times 6, because your a is 1 and then c is 6. That will give me 6. 1 times 6 will give me 6. The next thing to do is to look for factors of 6. Obviously, that will be 1 and 6 and minus 1 and minus 6. Again, another factor of 6 is 2 and 3 and minus 2 and minus 3. Now, the next thing to do is to say which of these terms will give us the b. Which of these terms will give us the b? It is 2 and 3. So I will use that to separate the middle term here. The middle term here. That will give us x squared. Now, instead of writing the middle term, I will use the 2 and 3. That will be 2x, not just 2, please. 2x plus 3x. Please don't write 2 and 3. Write 2x plus 3x. I have used that to separate the middle term. Meaning that if you add these 2 now, you get the middle term. And then plus 6 equals 0. Now we can now factorize. Now in factorizing, you factorize two terms at a time. Look at these two terms, x squared and plus 2x now. The common term between them is x. That means x can go in two of them. Bring out the x. And then you say if x goes in x squared, what will it give us? It will give us x. How do you know that? Just simply come and write x squared over x. That means x goes in x squared. It will cancel one of the powers and then you will have x. So that's easily done. Again, x goes in plus 2x. That will give us 2. How do you know that? Very simple. Just write plus 2x over x. Again, x goes in plus 2x and that will give us plus 2. So quite easy. The next thing is to look at the next two terms again. You factorize 2 at a time. Now, what is common between plus 3s and plus 6? What can go between them? That's plus 3. And then you say plus 3 goes in the first one, which is plus 3 goes in plus 3x. That will give us x. While plus 3 goes in plus 6, that will give us plus 2. And that will give us equal to 0. Now, under factorization, take each term and look for what is common between the two of them. We have two terms here. What is common between the two of them? What you can see in two of them is s plus 2. Bring out that s plus 2 out. Factorize it out. If s plus 2 goes in the first term, in this first term now, what would we have left is x. If s plus 2 goes in this term here, what would we have left is plus 3 equals 0. At the end of the day, we have x plus 2 equals 0 or s plus 3 equals 0. Our final answer will be x equal to minus 2 or x equal to minus 3. So this is our final answer. We are done solving that. Let's take example 2 now. Same method again for this. Just write out your a, b, and c. My a here is 2. Our b here is minus 5. And then the c is minus 3. Multiply the a and c together. That's 2 times minus 3. And we have minus 6. Now look for factors of minus 6. That is 1 and minus 6 and minus 1 and 6. And that factors of minus 6, sorry, is 2 and minus 3. And then again, minus 2 and then 3. These are the factors of 6. Numbers are even multiplied to give you minus 6. Now, which of these, when added, will give us minus 5, which is the B? It is the first one. You can see when you add 1 to minus 6, you get minus 5. And so that's what we use to split this middle term here. So we have 2x squared plus, that is 1 there, so plus 1x, because you must add x to it, 1x. But instead of writing 1x, write as x, because 1x is x. Then minus 6x. And then minus 3 equals 0. Now take two terms each to factorize. Taking the first two, we have 2x squared plus s. What is common between them? That's x. If s goes in 2x squared, what would we have? Is 2x. If s goes in plus x, what do we have? Is plus 1. Again, we take what is common between the next two terms. What can go between them, or what's common between them, is minus 3. If minus 3 goes in minus 6x, we will be left with 2x. If minus 3 goes in minus 3, we will be left with plus 1 equals 0. So at the end of the day, we have under factorization again, which is this between this term and this term. What is common between the two terms is 2x plus 1. Again, if 2x plus 1 gets factorized in the first term, we have what left? That's x. If 2x plus 1 gets factorized in the second term, what do we have left? Is minus 3. So equal to 0. So you can say 2x plus 1 equals 0, or x minus 3 equals 0. And so we can say 2x is equal to minus 1, and dividing both sides by 2 gives us that x is equal to minus 1 over 2. Again, we can say here that x is equal to 3 for the second answer. So that's that about that. Let's take example, the number 3. So this is our question number 3, and this is another quadratic trinomial because 3 terms are here. So the first thing to do is to bring out our a. Obviously our a is 1 here, and then our b is minus 5, and then our c is minus 24. The next thing to do is to multiply the a and the c. If we multiply 1 by and 24, we get minus 24. So we look for factors of minus 24 now. The first is 1 and minus 24. The next is minus 1 and 24. And then we move on and on. The next one is 2 and minus 12. And then we have minus 2 and 12. We also have 3 and minus 8 and minus 3 and 8. And we have lastly 4 and 6. 4 and minus 6, sorry. Minus 6. Please take note. And we have minus 4 and then 6. Okay. And so we look for which of these terms, when added, will give us the minus 5, which is the b. And that's this term here. So 3 and minus 8. So we use that now to separate the middle term. So we have x squared plus 3x. Please don't just use 3 plus 3x. Then minus 8x, not minus 8 alone. Please take note. Equal to 0. And then we look between these two terms. What is common? Well, x is common between them, and that means x can go between them. X in x squared will give us x. X in plus 3x will give us plus 3. And then we have minus 8 going in the next two terms. Minus 8 in minus 8s will give us x. And minus 8 in minus 24 will give us plus 3 as well. Equal to 0. So at the end of the day, we have x plus 3 being factorized out, because that is what is common between this term and this term, the two terms here. So x plus 3 factorized out in the first term, which is what is here, and then we have x remaining. And if x plus 3 is factorized in the next term here, we would have minus 8 remaining. So it equals 0. So at the end of the day, we have x plus 3 equals 0, or x minus 8 equals 0. So we have x equals minus 3, or x equals plus 8. So that's that. Let's take our question number 4. Please, there's a little bit of mistake in this question, and I would like to correct it. Actually, when I gave this example, I made a mistake here, and I would like to correct that mistake. The mistake I made is writing this question as x squared minus 2s plus 15, instead of having it as plus 2s, minus 15. So I'm going to correct that now. This is the question, so I'll correct it from here. Okay, so I'm correcting now. This is plus 2x and then minus 15. So I've corrected it. Again, as usual, the first thing to do is to bring out your a, b, and c. Obviously, our a is 1, our b is 2, and then our c is minus 15. And then as usual, multiply your a and c, and that will give us minus 15. Factors of minus 15 is 1 and minus 15. And then we have minus 1 and then 15. And that factor is 3 and minus 5. And then we have minus 3 and 5. These are the factors of 15. Now, which of these, when added, will give us 2 plus 2, which is the value of b? And that is obviously this term here. So we'll pick out minus 3 and 5. So we have this splitted as x squared minus 3x plus 5x minus 15 equals 0. So we would have x being common to the first two terms here. We have x minus 3 plus 5 being common between the next two terms. We have x minus 3 as well equals 0. So at the end of the day, Under factorization, what is common between this term and this term here? It is x minus 3. X minus 3 being factorized out will give us x left in the first term and then plus 5 in the second term equals 0. So at the end of the day, we have x minus 3 equals 0 or x plus 5 equals 0. So x is equal to 3 or x is equal to minus 5. That's the answer for this. So we take our 5 and then lastly number 6. So this is our number 5 question. The first thing to do is to make the right hand side equal to 0. So we just rearrange. This will give us 6x squared plus x minus 4 minus 11 equals 0. And so this will give us 6x squared plus x minus 15 equals 0. Again, the next thing we have to just do is to say what's our a, that is 6, what's our b, that is 1, and what's our c, that is minus 15. And so a times c will give us minus 90. Minus 90. So we bring out the factors of minus 90 now, which is 1 and minus 90, and then minus 1 and 90. Again, we have 2 and minus 45, and minus 2 and 45. Again, we have 3 and minus 30, and then minus 3 and 30. Again, we have 5 and 18, minus 18, sorry, and then minus 5 and 18. We have 6 and minus 15, and then we have minus 6 and 15. And then lastly, we have 9 and minus 10, and then minus 9 and 10. I know you should be wondering now, how did I have these numbers on my head? Well, I didn't have it on my head all through. So I just have to confirm 1 or 2 to be sure. Okay, so the next one is which of them when added will give us our middle term. That is this, minus 9 and 10. That if added, it will give us 1. So I'll use that now. So we have 6x squared, again minus 9x, again plus 10 minus 15 equals 0. So at the end of the day, we have what is common between these two. That is 3 can go, 3 is common, and the x is common. So factorize 3x. 3x goes in 6x squared will give us 2x. And while 3x goes in 9x will give us minus 3. And then, what is common between the next two terms? This is 10x, not 10. What is common here is 5. 5 goes in 10x will give us 2x. And 5 goes in minus 15. Please, plus 5. Plus 5. 5 goes in minus 15 will give us minus 3. So at the end of the day, what is common between the two terms here is 2x minus 3. And so 2x minus 3 factorized in the first term will give us 3x. 2x minus 3 factorized in the second term will give us plus 5. And so this is what we have. So at the end of the day, we have 2x minus 3 being equal to 0, or 3x plus 5 being equal to 0. So we have 2x is equal to 3, and while dividing both sides by 2 will give us x being equal to 3 over 2. Or we have 3x being equal to minus 5, and then x when divided by 3, both sides by 3 will give us minus 5 over 3. So that's that about that. And we take our last question now. Our last question says, our last time says 2x squared is equal to 7x. Well, the first thing to do is to rearrange such that the right answer gives 0. So this will give us 2x squared minus 7x is equal to 0. Again, the next thing to do is to look for what is common between these two terms here. What is common is x. If x is factorized, we have 2x and then minus 7 being equal to 0. So at the end of the day, we have x is equal to 0. This is not a trinomial, obviously you know, because there are two terms here, and that made the factorization very, very easy. And then 2x minus 7 being equal to 0. Again, here we have 2x is equal to 7, and then x, when dividing both sides by 2, give us x being equal to 7 over 2. So that's that about that. You can try these following exercises on your own now. So you can attempt these exercises now. So we'll now be looking at completing the square method and formula method. So that's that about that.